whichever year that was. And we've taken forward a couple of strands of main activity, one being the bigger picture stuff. So trying to get a renewable energy generation scheme, and we work with Bath and West Community Energy to develop that. And we're now at the stage of putting in a Rural Community Energy Fund application to get money for the planning stage of that. So lots of community consultation around that. 70% of the village supportive of the plans as they've been outlined so far. So hopefully we can go to planning, get permission and build maybe sometime this year for a build, which would be a 2 megawatt scheme close to the village, which would be quite different because it's quite close, which is interesting. And then concurrently, not forgetting the little stuff. So we've been working with the Cheese Project, and Patch is here. Hi, Patch. Virtually, we've not met before, but and we've started surveying homes. So we've gathered together funding for 28 cheese surveys in the village. So we've been targeting some of the most in need initially. And then been doing some other things. So looking at EV charge points, promoting solar together. Got loads of people signed up to that, and I'm just about to launch a virtual lending library of things, which some other people might be interested in copying. So I don't know how much. I could probably talk all day, but that's probably enough.
No, that's perfect. Thank you. And I guess kind of segue into that, I'm wondering if Patch, if you wanted to just give a bit of a information about the Cheese Project for people that might not be aware of it.
Yeah, sure. Hi. So I'm the survey manager for Cheese. In fact, I joined in November, so I'm still quite new, but to give a rough overview, Cheese Projects was set up about 5-6 years ago. The main aim is to provide a way to give householders a quick and easy way to know how airtight, well, not how airtight, but how leaky their homes are. So, you can imagine homes have lots of different features in them. Often there can be features that kind of draw cold air into the home, or are insulation that hasn't worked, or various issues around the home that kind of create energy loss. So Cheese Project does thermal imaging surveys, and at the moment we're going through this huge kind of growth period, I guess, where we've got like a large grant behind us, and we're trying to kind of rapidly scale the project to turn it from a project between some kind of pro bono directors into like a proper kind of fully fledged business. So that's the mission we're on.
Okay, thank you. And then moving on, I'm going to go down my list. I don't know if Damon's available to do a bit of an update on work that he's been doing around Owen Square.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, cool. So a bit of an update on the Owen Square Community Energy Project. So we are based around Easton Community Centre in Easton, obviously. And the project started by installing a large ground source heating system in 2017 that has decarbonised the community centre. Bristol Energy Co-op have solar panels on the roof, and there's a renewable heat network essentially. And what we're working on, so that project's been successful in the extent that it's decarbonised 2 community buildings, and we've got a lot of data and instrumentation around that. What we're doing next really is we're trying to expand out from the community centre to help with decarbonisation in the houses around the community centre. The substation has been instrumented by Western Power with real-time monitoring, and we're looking at a whole home electrification project. We're in sort of the last stages of getting funding to hopefully, fingers crossed, remove gas boilers from 20 houses and put in heat pumps and solar. And these are old Victorian terrace houses. So the trick is to do that in a way that's financially viable for the residents living there. So yeah, we're hopefully going to be sort of looking for two things in the near term, really. Help with retrofit coordination. So yeah, we're looking for people with skill sets, or people or companies with skill sets in whole home in retrofit coordination. And there will hopefully be a couple of community energy apprenticeships around the project. So we'll hopefully be some jobs coming out for people paid work in community energy around the project this year.
Okay, that's really exciting. Thank you for sharing. I'm just going to see who's available in the room.
Could I just ask Damon a question, if that's okay?
Sure, yeah.
Damon, what's going on with the Water Lilies project? Can you say anything about that?
Yeah, that's a new build project in Lawrence Weston, and we have 12 homes with air source heat pumps, solar and battery storage energized so far. We're going up to 33 homes by June. Yeah, that's there's going to be more news about that later in the year.
Right.
But it's going well.
Can I also ask for a little clarification, because Damon, you said to remove heat pumps in a viable, financially viable way. How do you do that? Sorry, remove gas boilers in a...
Remove gas boilers, yes, yeah, and put in heat pumps. Where it's a combination of energy efficiency, insulation, and solar, and hot water tank thermal storage, and then smart algorithms to link the solar and the hot water storage to use energy at the cheapest times of the day. Yeah, and so there's actually a really good paper I could share that Bays have put out on whole home electrification and how to make it energy efficient. But it's a 70-page study that actually just lays out entirely how to do it on Bays's website right now. So we're just following that white paper.
And you have funding to do the whole shebang in one go for each of the houses?
We're in the last stages of applying for funding, so nothing may happen, or it may be all go. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. I'm wondering who might be next. I've got Cabo. Would you be able to provide a bit of an update on the work that you're doing? You're muted. Up there.
Hi, Aisha.
Hi.
Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Great. Appreciate the thumbs up. So my name's Cabo Yu. I've been one of the advocates for Bristol Energy Network, so I know the sincerity and the practicality of the work that David and Rachel, them and the team is doing. So I'm organizing what I have called and it's basically called Artivus in a Box project. And it's a project that looks at the meeting of art and activism. And the intention of the project is to bring institutions and cultural organizations and collectives and artists and activists and just community members in Bristol together around a project, around an artistic project. The intention is to create cohesion. My intention is to encourage cultural cohesion. The idea for the project came about kind of when the talks about Brexit emerged. So this is now a couple of years ago. And the intention that I found was, because of Brexit, there's going to be certain challenges that we have to overcome now that we've been cut adrift from the EU, or cut ourselves adrift. And instead of feeding into the divisive whatever is occurred because of that process, I thought that if we now would be an important aspect in Bristol to look at how can we actually truly encourage cultural cohesion, you know, and how do we truly create a city that will rely on all its multicultural skills and talents and forms of expressions. So Artavus in a Box project came about, and it's basically going to be a project that has 4 tiers to it. So there's going to be artists who will be collaborating with cultural institutions that focuses on well-being, being well, and all the different types of practices and offerings like Bristol Energy Network has to offer people of Bristol in relation to helping them out of fuel poverty, in relation to helping them out of challenges, energy poverty, etc., and just making the public aware of what is available to them. Because if you don't know, you don't know. So it's going to be, and basically, if you think about the concept of the Jack in the Box, you know, like you have the box and the Jack pops out, or the Jackie pops out. So that's the kind of the idea I'm playing with the artist being in the box. And the box is going to be a shop window front of a gallery that's going to be made into a one-way mirror, so the public can see the artist at work, but the artist inside the box view will be obscured. Then inside the gallery, there'll be space for the different organizations to do exhibition or installation, or to have a dedicated table during the 10-day festival where they can, as Bristol Energy Network is going to come in, they're going to do a box takeover. So the team's going to come into the project. There'll be an artist in the morning, then in the afternoon up until whatever time suits your endeavor. Bristol Energy Network will come inside the gallery, will take it over, and will invite all the role players, but also community members to participate in the process to create something meaningful, whether it's information sharing, whether it's creating a certain banner or a certain phrase that can be emerging, or a piece of art. And then the dedicated table will have all the information that Bristol Energy Network wants to share with the Bristol community. They can have it as part of the festival, as part of the box. There'll be an exhibition. Artists will be in the box. There'll be a dedicated space during the festival for all the different organizations, not to only relate and interact with the public. It will also be an opportunity for Bristol Energy Network to work with other institutions, like you're already partnering, like Black and Green Ambassadors, etc., and other charities that work in other aspects of well-being, to also encourage a closer, integrated networking opportunity between the different organizations that are doing similar work, or at least you could see the symbiosis of how we could integrate, become more cohesive in our offerings to the public. So the public will be able to access, to participate in the project with the artists whilst they're creating work. So they'll have a little view of an artist's creation process. And it comes around because in Bristol, it's so culturally rich, but the artist isn't necessarily respected. So as an artist, I also wanted to create a platform for artists to interact in a more meaningful way. So that's elements of the project, and the way Bristol Energy Network is already going to take over the box, is going to participate. It's going to be a public-facing interactive process. It's inside the gallery, and the gallery is also placed inside the galleries. So there's already a footfall happening, and then you can invite your own people. And it's also kind of a little bit of a side swipe at capitalism, because there's like a us being inside this profit-driven enterprise, or this thing is now they're calling us in, because that form of capitalism is in the process of decline. So it's playing, and also playing with a box metaphor, playing with the Jack in the Box metaphor. And there's also going to be an Artivus confession box, which it's kind of it's a parody in relation to people can come up and speak to any one of you if you want to be behind the curtain, and they can just ask you questions, they can talk, or the artist can interact with it. So if anyone is interested, let Dave or Rachel know, and then they can link us and we can see, because
there's an opportunity to promote your project, engage with the public in the centre of Bristol, communicate what climate action means, what activities as organisations you're delivering, and really, you know, giving people sense of agency over the climate crisis. And do you want to give the dates again, Cabo?
So the dates are, it starts on the 25th of March and it ends on the 3rd of April. So it starts the 25th of March, which is the last Friday of March, and it ends the first Sunday of April. So it's a 10-day process. And yeah, I'm going to need all kinds of support. If you are not an artist or you just want to come and hold space, talk to me as well, because I'm in the process of also building a team that can help hold the process together. And that's in 8 weeks' time. So yeah, thank you for the time.
No, thank you. I think it'll be really good to, you know, have that space to meet and share physically after it's been kind of over a long time where we've been doing things virtually. So I think that'll be a really good opportunity for people to participate in.
If it's okay, I can put the one page in here if people wants to have a look at it.
Yeah, you've got
anything. It's much clearer than I've expressed it, I would imagine.
Okay, yeah. And I'm just gonna move on down the list. I think is Mia back in the room? I think she is. Are you able to give a bit of an update on what you've been working on? Ooh, I don't think I can hear you. Sorry, Mia, I don't think I can hear. Is it just me? It's not just me. Okay.
Do you want to go back to Mike? I think you wanted to ask earlier, didn't you? So
yeah.
If Mike's free.
Mike, did you want to just give a little, I know Patch, you've spoken already a little bit about cheese, but I know if Mike, you wanted to just give a bit more of an overview of the project and the work that you're doing as well with the cheese project.
Well, hi everybody. I had a bit of trouble signing in to trying to use the Eventbrite system. So now I'm on, got my voice back. I'm afraid I didn't hear what Patch said, so I don't want to be repeating him. But we have funding to expand the cheese project, I'm delighted to say, within Bristol and Bath. We're going out as far, more or less, as the Mendips and up as far as Thornbury. We have to put our prices up slightly for that to account for the travel time of our energy tracers. And perhaps I probably told you we've done getting on for 50 surveys this winter, despite only having started mid-November because of various problems, not least of which was COVID getting going. We've got a new team in place, including Patch, I'm delighted to say, and a new managing director, Alison Corley, who will be taking over my job before too long, which is just as well because I'm 82. And, you know, one of the threats to the project is in fact my antiquity, so it's just as well. The new company, First Thermal Limited, has been set up and that is in order to franchise the cheese project out to the rest of the country. And we're getting the documents together now, or just beginning, which will enable that to be possible. We have to get cheese onto a solid paying for itself basis, making a small profit, which gets reinvested back because it's a kick. And when we've done that, which we hope to do this current survey season, that will mean that we can be an exemplar, a model for the other franchisees to copy. And we have several interested already. This very afternoon, I was talking to some extremely keen people from the Isle of Wight. Colin there has been involved in what he calls this energy ecosystem for ages. He was a trustee of CSE near the beginning. He was a trustee of Regen and so on. So we're being taken seriously by some key players. So that's all good news. And we're feeling very positive about it.
Thank you. That's really, really good to hear. Mia, do you want to try again?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, cool. Sorry, I was just frantically typing out what I was going to say in case it didn't work. But yeah, so hi, my name is Mia, and I'm a volunteer with Ben. I try and meet with Rachel and Dave once a week to get updated on what they've been up to and also what Ben members have been up to. I've got access to all of the social media accounts, so I try and post all of our updates on there as and when they happen. I try and find any updates from Ben members on social media as well, and share what you guys have been up to. Our Instagram account is relatively new, so if anyone isn't following us on Instagram, give us a little follow. It's just at Bristol Energy Network, I believe. As I said, if you've got any updates that I haven't spotted on your social medias or on your newsletters, feel free to tag Bristol Energy Network or drop us an email if there's something in particular that you guys would like sharing. Also, I think something that possibly could be seen a little bit more on Ben's social media profiles are pictures. So if you guys have been up to anything exciting, feel free to drop us an email with any pictures of events that have happened. We'd love to share those online as well, just so it's not all just sort of text of what's going on and yeah, quite wordy updates. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Let me see, who else do I got? I don't know, Roger, if you wanted to give a bit of an update on some of the work that you're doing. Roger. Oh, Roger, I think you're muted. Oh, there.
Was that me?
Yes, it was you. Sorry.
What are we doing?
Just a bit of an update on
well, yeah, it would be an update on the wind turbine, really, which I think David is in much better position to give a current.
If you do the hub, if you give an update on the hub, perhaps Roger, I could do a bit of an update on the turbine if you like.
Well, the community hub. The community hub is it has planning permission, but we're still putting together the trying to bring the finance and the support together necessary to actually complete it, and that's ongoing. That's it's going to happen. It's just not happening very quickly. I don't think I've got a lot to say about it. The Astry Close housing is also the development program is being put together by Brighter Places now, who are taking over the actual development. Now, how the say the energy aspects of the development are affected by basically recent developments. The intention is to install air source heat pumps, but whether the world has changed sufficiently in the last couple of months to mean that that other approaches might be long-term more economical and reasonable, I don't know. It's a question that I think needs, well, I feel needs asking. Yeah, and it's something we're going to have a look at. The answer may be very brief. I don't know, but the prospect of having an energy grid such that the homes are actually mutually supportive, I think is very attractive in the long term. Whether that has become more reasonable, the issue for us is really just economy. It's the fact that we're trying to build homes which will be for rent at an affordable rent, a genuinely realistically affordable rent for our residents. So we're really trying to keep control the costs, but long-term costs of ownership of occupation are important as well. Trying to think what else is I could be reporting on. On the energy front, I'm not sure that there's anything I've got at the moment.
Okay.
I think I'll leave it there. I'm sort of just terribly distracted by planning applications for various sorts.
So Ambition Lawrence Weston is also part of the climate action group, and so it's developing the energy concept of the energy learning zone at the moment. So looking to create an area in space where people can learn skills for what's needed for net zero. So we're going to be working with Bristol City College and Bristol University and UWE and other educational providers such as Filton College as well, to really make sure that there are opportunities for young people and all people in 8 to 80 in the community there. And as Roger said, the wind turbine project's still in development. We're starting the preparation works next week, so hopefully we'll have the turbine up by this time next year. So that's what we're aiming for, at least. So that's all that's there.
Okay, thank you. I'm just conscious of time. Who else we've got? I wasn't sure if there's anyone else that was keen to do a bit of an update. I think there's Sib from Black Southwest Network. I wasn't sure if you just wanted to give.
Yeah, he's just messaged me. Unfortunately, he's unable to join us this evening. So yes, Sib is going to be working with Bristol Energy Network in the coming weeks.
Dave, I think he's here actually.
Is he? Where?
I think so.
Where's Sib gone? I've got page 2. Sib, you're there? Okay, yeah. Go on then.
Yeah, I did. All right.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so just finished school run and after school activities and all. Yeah, just a quick update in terms of Black Southwest Network. We've been successful at the Community Renewal Fund, and the project that we're running is supporting Black and Asian youths between the ages of 16 to 24 to access green jobs and to also learn about green skills. The project is due to end in June, so we've got a quick turnaround window. We've just appointed our project managers, our mentors, our partnership managers, and entrepreneur in residence. So we should be able to start within the next month. What is available though on offer is similar to the Kickstart scheme, I guess, for any employers out there that would like to take on some young people through a placement. We'll be able to subsidize the placements with yourselves. And then we'll also be able to cover we'll be able to cover the young people's time to be able to find out about your industry. And also before they go on any placements, we'll be running some workshops. And we're still just deciding the core themes for the workshops. But these will be focused around green skills. So if you feel that you have some insights around any particular area in the green economy, please do get in touch. If you'd like to be a delivery partner in terms of the workshops, or if you'd like to host a young person, please do get in touch. I'll put a link on the chat, so you can also send an email and maybe just find out a little bit more about the program. But as I said, there isn't that much public information yet. That will be available more towards the end of February. All right.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, please do share your information in the chat. I think that'd be
sure, will do. No problem. Thank you.
I'm just seeing who else. I don't know, David, did you want to get David Saunders? Did you want to give a bit of an update?
Sure. Yeah, thank you. I've had my head rather buried for the last 8 months or so. I've been working with Charles Gamble, who is also working on the wind project with David, and his wife is a BEN director, and they've been retrofitting a house. So I've been doing a deep retrofit for the last 8 months, which is a long way from solar, but really interesting, great learning. In fact, Andy Burkitt came and looked at our wonderful project today. But Andy and I have been knocking out energy papers during the last year for SERA, the Socialist Environmental Resource Association, which, for reasons that I don't fully understand, I'm now chair of. Probably a nudge from some of the members. And some of the work that came out of it ended up, I did a presentation for Quakers recently about the future of energy, with just one idea that I think is worth us working on. The papers that Andy and I had been writing were trying to lobby for some more integration between citizen plans, the Citizens Assembly, the Community Climate Action Project, and the One City Climate Strategy, so that you have an integrated plan that would start to be timed and costed over the next 8 years. And we may not know what we're going to spend in the next year, but we got a reasonable idea that we'll spend about, say, 10 billion for the region by the time we're carbon neutral in 8 years' time. And if you take that number, chop it into labor and materials, then you've got about anything 4, 5, 6 billion on labor. If half of that were put into apprenticeships and young people training, then you would end up with 30, 40, and you paid your students living wage, right? So you create a program out of the labor for the retrofit of the city to be carbon neutral, and you would end up with upwards of 30,000 young people having a funded 3-year degree program that was, an environmental education. And that's such a juicy prospect. It's sort of like that would draw anybody in. We're starting to get interest in this. And the idea would be during this year of action to really update BEN's community strategy for energy and other energy strategies, bring them all together so that there is a vision document. I did one of these for Hamilton House a few years ago when we were looking to buy a campus and turn it into an environmental university. And just putting the right document in front of people, they say, look, I get it. This is what we need to do. And there was all of that in BEN's community strategy for energy, except that you gave it to the council and they didn't do anything with it. What we've got to do is create something that is a plan with steps, and it's clear that we can do the next step, and that next year's step brings us to the year after that and the year after that. And by the time you're 8 years out, much of the work of decarbonizing the region has been done by the community in partnership with the city, rather than some company from the outside who we don't know, who's been brought in on a procurement. I'm not going to mention City Leap, but I think a community-led climate action plan is really what we should be aiming for. So I'm hoping that, and the local Quakers are interested in hosting an event and an exhibition around this. So there's the start. So David, we should have a chat. In fact, you should come out to the retrofit before we give up on it and put renters in it. It's we've converted a really grungy house into something quite gorgeous. Oh, Iris has seen it too. Yeah, there's a thumbs up. It looks like a thoroughly modern house, and the point being, just energy retrofitting a house is a little bit dodgy on the financials, as we all know. But if you turn an ordinary house into a super eco home that's been made into a gorgeous house, you raise the value and that pays for it. And I've spent, the last 8 months working as a carpenter, learning that. Great fun, and but I hope to get more involved back into doing energy work with Ben in the next months. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just going to double check my list. I wasn't sure if Will from Bristol Energy Cooperative was here to give a bit of an update at all. He'd be keen.
Yep.
Yeah, all right.
Hi everyone. Yeah, really interesting to hear what everyone's up to. Huge amount of stuff going on. We are in the middle of another community share offer at the moment, and we're raising funds for various different things. One is to put solar panels all over Bristol Beacon and various other rooftop PV projects. That one has been a bit of a collaboration with Wilmot Dixon, Bristol Music Trust, and it's sort of quite a good example of really boosting the size of the installation and making full use of the roof space, which we're hoping to do it on a bigger scale with another council building, but to be confirmed whether that will happen or not. We are also working away on our hydro project at Netham, gradually making progress. What else have we got? So we've got various microgrid projects with Damon and CPRO, so Water Lilies that was mentioned, and Hazelmead, both in construction at the moment.
Okay.
We've got a big megawatt scale grid servicing battery system that we hope will be constructed later this year. Can't share too much information on that right now, but it's edging ever closer. So yeah, got a lot of stuff going on.
Awesome, thank you. And I think I'll just open up the floor quickly if there's anyone else that wanted to give a bit of an update on the stuff that they're doing that hadn't shared. Oh yeah, I think I see a hand. Yeah, Andy.
I was just going to say, I've been working on anti-version. I work with David. Just a couple of quick points. I also work with Ashley Community Housing. I'm the chair of some of their groups as we're part of the Climate Action Fund. So we've been putting together a whole training expertise and beginning to get funding for that to be able to offer green apprentices. So that's quite key. I'm also a trustee of Eastside Community Trust. So I do some work with them as well, and they are looking to increase the amount of work on climate they're doing. My main concerns at the moment, apart from those, which is supporting David, and we're writing these papers. So I try and give Marvin a hard time every day, because I've known him since he was 8. So he's used to it. And getting rid of City Leap is my #1 aim in life. And the other thing I will mention, and this may appeal to Dave Tudgy, I'm doing some work in Clevedon. I've been asked to come in, and they are working on the idea of a train line from Clevedon to Nailsea to reopen that. And secondly, they now want to think about a wind turbine on the same model of Ambition and Lawrence Weston. So I think that is I've always thought that what you're doing in Lawrence West and Roger Davis is instantly franchisable, or whatever word you want to use, right across the region. And believe it or not, my first, I'm a chemist by training, and my first piece of work I did in the early 70s commercially was for tidal power in the Severn Estuary. And I think at long last, we're beginning to get there. Things are moving. That's what I'm up to.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Oh, Iris? Do you have a-
Yeah, sorry, I was going to keep quiet, but actually maybe I should say something. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to say that I'm a trustee of the Media Centre, but we've got a subsidiary called We Can Make, which some of you will know about. And we've just, well, the first 2 tenants are about to move in, and those are very highly energy efficient homes that don't have gas boilers, I hasten to add. So they are, and we are also embarking on building some more homes, and that's in Knoll West and Bristol. So that's really exciting to have very differently manufactured homes that are being built in Bristol. I know there's some other initiatives obviously as well. And the other thing that has come out of a number of discussions with other people, and partly out of the COVID groups that have come out of supporting each other's sort of lives really, is that we've now got a group in our street which is looking to specifically look at what the council and the government is throwing at us as residents, and we're trying to come together to have a community response to that, just amongst ourselves for the moment, so that we have public meetings, we have the kids involved. It's all about anything from reducing the speed of our traffic to putting in cycle carriers, to looking at who's having their roofs done and why, and solar power, and what we can do in terms of any kind of community energy effort together. So, and this is literally, how many is there? 60 houses, 80 houses, if we count a few of the extra ones on another road that are also showing an interest. So we're doing that, and to me, that's come out of, like I say, out of the sort of a bombardment of opportunities, if they that come across from statutory agencies wanting us to make all sorts of decisions about our lives, and they're being taken in isolation. And like many community projects that exist in other parts of the city, there wasn't anything here that was quite as local as I wanted it to be. So we started that. And yes, I have seen the house that that's being retrofitted, and I'm doing my own retrofit at home. When I say I'm doing it, I'm not doing it. I'm getting other people to do it, which is the most frustrating thing ever, I would like to add. And if people can't do it, I can completely see why.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm just conscious of, I think we're over time, but it's been great to kind of hear what's going on within the community, as well as how many hats people tend to wear in addition to their day job. I think is quite interesting to hear. So thank you for everyone for sharing. I'm going to pass over to Rachel, who's going to kind of introduce the breakout discussions.
Yeah, that was actually quite a useful segue there, Iris, because we're going to have some breakout discussions in 3 different rooms with three different topics. So one of the rooms is retrofit and heating. So that might be a room that's interesting to you. The other room is skills and community engagement. And the third room is renewables. So I'm just popping in the chat, and so I'll open those rooms in just a moment. And you can choose which one. It might be a case that you've got a bit of knowledge around that subject, or that you're just interested. Anyone is welcome. And I might just ask, if you don't mind, that I've put some links to some Google Docs for taking notes in the chat. I wondered if you might, if you know which room you might want to go to, if you could copy the link, and if somebody could very kindly be the note taker, that'd be really, really helpful. There are some directors on here, so maybe I could encourage you to be note takers. But basically, we would love you to discuss. There are some prompts in those notes, some prompts for discussion points and questions. But Dave Tudgy is meeting with Greg Hands, the Energy Minister, in a few weeks. And we are really keen to represent what BEM members want from community energy. So we really want to make sure that we can communicate that. And then also we want to communicate that the outcomes of these discussions and what it is that you as members want with regards to the Green Recovery Fund that the West of England Combined Authority will be hopefully delivering soon. We know that there is money there, so we would like to be able to go to them and say, look, this is what is happening. This is what people would like to happen. Please make this happen. So if I open the rooms, let me see, and then you can choose which one. You should be able to, can people see them? Have they come up?
No.
That's strange because you're supposed to be able to choose which rooms. Oh, you've got them. People can see. Some people can see them.
If you click on breakout rooms.
Okay. Yes, thank you. If you click on breakout rooms, it'll give you the choice. There we go. You can decide which one you want.
Rachel, I think
Hi.
you have put the same URL for skills and renewables.
Oh, have I?
Yeah, I just copied the skills one and it said renewables, and I changed the thing and it changed on both. So
Okay, thank you. I will so I'll sort that one just now. Thanks very much. Right, retrofit skills and community. Right, here we go.
I'm waiting to
which
see
one
where everybody goes.
Which
Just
one?
out of curiosity.
Which one are you reposting? I'm not seeing any reposted.
I've got the agenda open, Rosanna, so I'll get the skills and engagement one up and then I'll repost it. Now it should still be there when you go into the.
Oh, I think it's.
So I've just hopefully that link that I've posted should take you to the skills notes, but the meeting link. Do you know how to? Can you see how to get to the meeting link?
No, I'm also struggling with this Eventbrite thing. I tried not to change, but actually now I can't see any meeting rooms.
Ah,
no,
okay, so
I do see.
Okay.
So I just, yeah.
Where am I gonna go?
Yeah, I'm like, who's in the renewable 6. They're pretty even. That's pretty good how they've turned out like that. Right, I might go into retrofit and see what happens. Let's see what's happening in there. BRB.
See ya. Are you still there, Andrew? Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hi. I think people are slowly coming back into the main room. I sat here for a little while, just having time for my thoughts. So it's nice to be joined with some others. I think it's only one room. Is this only one other room? Yeah.
Yeah, most of these people were from the retrofitting room. There we go.
There we go.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go, so I'm sorry that I have to bow out.
It's all right. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Okay, bye.
Awesome. I think this is everyone. I think all the rooms have closed now. So thank you everyone for welcome back into the main room. I hope you had some really good conversations. Feel free to kind of add some remaining notes into the Google Docs that were shared within your groups. But I will hand over now to Marion from the West of England Combined Authority to just do a quick update on the work that she's doing. Did you have some slides as well?
I do, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll just reassure you it's not loads.
Okay.
Only a handful.
Okay.
You should be able to share now, Marion, hopefully.
Okay. Do you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, great. So yeah, I was here, I think about a year ago to talk about our Green Business Grants programme. That was our second grant round, and we're now into our third grant round. We've allocated about 700k to 78 businesses and paid out 260k of that to projects that have already completed. So it's going really well, and we're onto our third grant round. So it's a very similar offer to the one that we had last year. So this is a capital grant of up to £15,000 per business, and that pays for 50 to 80% of costs, and I'll explain a bit more about that later. So this is for energy saving improvements to buildings and equipment. The total pot is 1.7 million, so we've got £1 million that's left available to allocate. So there are more detailed eligibility criteria on our website, but very broadly, this is for small and medium-sized enterprises that are economic. So it's not, unfortunately, for charities or community groups. They've got to be based in one of the 4 local authority areas in the west of England, so that's Bristol, Bath and North East Somerset, South Gloucestershire or North Somerset. So they've got to be a legal entity, so it can't be something like a sole trader. And we do look for them to be VAT registered and trading at least 85k. So not really a startup grant, but something for slightly more established businesses who've generally got buildings. This is where our money comes from. We've still got money from the European Union. That's the bulk of our Green Business Grant funding. And we've also added some of our own combined authority money from the Recovery Fund. So both of these pots of money are not only about low carbon, but they're also about economic development and economic recovery from COVID. So what types of projects have we been funding so far? So lots of your kind of standard retrofit, much as you would find really in domestic buildings, but here we're doing them to commercial buildings, a lot of solar PV, a lot of lighting, but these other measures as well. So we're no longer funding any type of fossil fuel heating, so we'll only fund air source heat pumps or heating that comes from electricity. Perhaps the more interesting ones are on the sort of sector specific side, where we've funded equipment. So we've done an espresso machine that was more efficient. We've done a number of things from manufacturers around air compressors, variable speed drives, that kind of thing. Some drink chillers for breweries and pubs. We've got a very interesting project where it's not energy saving, it's direct capture of carbon dioxide that's coming off the fermentation process. And what that means is if the brewery can capture that, they don't have to go and buy manufactured carbon dioxide. So that's a really interesting one. And then induction hobs as well. We've done a couple of those for kind of pub kitchens. So I mentioned earlier that some improvements get 50% and some get a higher rate. So most of these will get 50%. The higher rate of 60 or 80% is for things that we want to incentivize, like the air source heat pumps, solid wall insulation, that kind of thing. Unfortunately, in North Somerset, they can only access the European money, so they can only get the 50% rate, but they can still do the range of measures that we fund. So we don't leave businesses to work out what to do. Sometimes they do know what they want to do, but obviously it's a very specialized job to really understand energy use, where greenhouse gas emissions are coming from, and what you can do to reduce those emissions. So we have a small team of technical staff, and they will do basically a carbon survey for each business. They analyze energy data, they look at the building, and put together a report that goes to businesses, and we've sent out about 185 of those to date, and that's going to be a year-round offer until March 23, whether we've got a grant available or not. So businesses will always be able to access that for the next year or so. So we've been doing them virtually because of COVID, but we're starting to do more of them on site, which is really good to be back visiting those businesses. So these are some of the mayor's been out to some of our grant projects. So one in Midsummer Norton, which was an office, double glazing and new doors. Didn't save them a lot of carbon or a lot off their energy bills, but they're very happy with it because it's really reduced cold drafts in their office. And this is something that we've been finding. Obviously, our primary focus is about greenhouse gas emission reductions and saving money on utility bills, but we are getting a lot of feedback that the improvements are helping for staff comfort, and ultimately that's going to be about staff retention, so potentially a saving for the employer. I should point out, because I know there's lots of experts in the network, these carbon figures are tied to 2017, so they might look a little bit high because there was a lot of carbon obviously in previous years, but that's what the conversion factors that we use for ERDF grant. So on average, we're giving out a grant of £9,000. These are a little bit lower than that. We're saving on average 7 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent and £2,000 from energy bills. So that's a real, that's a real advantage that we can put forward to businesses, that then they're not only going green, but they will be saving their energy bills, and in time of price rises, that's going to protect them going into the future. So that's a real selling point. But I don't know about you, it feels to me as though someone has flicked a switch for business interest in climate. Businesses are really engaged. They really want to reduce their direct greenhouse gas emissions. So it's not just their own savings. They are really interested in the green agenda. So we are, if you want to advertise this to your businesses in your community, they can go to our web pages. So we've got one page on the West of England Combined Authority website and two on our Growth Hub, which is kind of our business focused website. The first stage of the process is to sign up for a free carbon survey. If they already have an independent carbon survey, then we just need to check that, but they can use that instead. So all over those pages are links to sign up for a carbon survey, which is the first stage of the process. And then we've also got some case studies up on our web pages, so you can see the amount of carbon that's being saved, how much things are costing, and hear a bit more from the businesses that we've helped. So that is our Green Business Grant program. David just asked me to share some other things that the Combined Authority is doing around sustainability. I manage the Low Carbon Challenge Fund, so as well as Green Business Grants, we've got our local energy scheme, that's 1.3 million, and our housing retrofit scheme, which is 500,000, and we're in the process of allocating that money, so I'm happy to come back at a later date and explain to you what projects we've funded. We've also got our Business Innovation Fund, which is about research and development. Their third grant round is focusing on innovating to net zero. We've got a lot going on around skills and employment. We've got our Careers Hub, a Green Futures Fund, which is about to launch, which is around schools' careers activities related to green skills. UE, we're funding a project with UE around green skills, and we've done an analysis report on retrofit skills. And our Growth Hub, which is specifically for businesses, is definitely working towards supporting businesses on their net zero journey. So all of those things are really picking up speed. It's very clear that the Mayor's priorities are around the climate and ecological emergencies and also around green skills and jobs. And those things are translating into what's happening that you've probably already heard of. So we're updating our climate emergency action plan and we've set up the Green Recovery Fund, which is 30 million of the Combined Authority's money and then 20 million of match funding. So I'm sure myself or someone else from the Combined Authority will be able to come back to you if you want to know about any of those things in more detail.
Thank you very much. I'm just conscious of time, so we don't really have much opportunity for questions, but if Marion, if you're able to pop your email address, potentially your contact in the chat box, just so if anyone has any questions, they can contact you directly. Again, thank you so much for coming. I'll pass on now to Rachel and Dave. I think they're going to provide an update.
Yeah, hi, we'll just do a very quick Ben update before we finish up, because I realise you've all been here for a while. So just very quickly, I just wanted to talk about the energy help desks that we've been running. So these are advice and information sessions, if you like, that I've been doing in places where there are people in or at risk of fuel poverty. So all across Bristol, different places, food banks and food clubs, children's centres, stay and plays, schools. And I've also been running training sessions with people who work in these places. So they're at the front line giving advice to people on all different subjects. And I've been trying to train them up on the energy side of things so that they can continue to share that advice. And then I've been going out in person to run a session with them and to give them resources to carry that on. So it's been unsurprisingly really, really busy considering the situations going on and the energy price rises. that everyone is suffering from. So it's been, there's a lot of demand for it at the moment. So we will continue with that. And if anyone has any interest in either training on that, or I would like to request an energy help desk session, then please let me know, get in touch with me. I'll put my email in the chat. Dave, do you want to do a quick, very quick update?
Yeah, so we've been working with Bristol City Council over the last 12 months to develop the Warm Up Skill Up project, and we're just in the delivery phase now of the project, where we've done retrofit designs for all of the participants, and we're beginning the training with residents so they can take on challenges themselves, such as their own loft hatches, doors and windows for retrofit, and help them to understand their retrofit design and involving them in that process. So that's going well. Once that's completed, we're going to publish a report on that, and hopefully that will inform future retrofit journeys, for create a customer journey for retrofit that includes the Cheese project in confirming the retrofit's been done to a high standard, as well as the assessment at the beginning to identify the issues that are faults. But also we're also training the builders and the retrofit designers around thermal imaging, so that's going very well. We're also working with Bristol City Council on the local plan. So a few years ago, the local plan was under review. It's now back up for review. So I've been working with the local authority, working through the comments that we produced previously, and also working with a UWE intern to consolidate other correspondence with members around the 10 asks for smart local energy systems. We've got a coherent ask, and they're going to come back in May with the draft local plan, so we can all have a look again then, actually comment on the local plan as it is written now, which is very exciting. And from what I've seen so far, a lot of what we've been asking for has been taken on board. So it's very good progress there. As mentioned earlier, from going to COP26, I spoke with Kwasi Kwarteng, and I've written to him, and he's now replied and invited me for a meeting with Community Energy England next week. And I can provide an update. I'll put in the chat if people want to find out what we discussed and what the outcome of that meeting is. So we've got a meeting the following day, which is open to anyone who wants to find out what our legacy is, so that if you want to find out what's going on there. We're also looking to host our own energy transition conference. I'll be inviting Greg Hands, to the Minister, to come to Bristol on the 18th of June. That be supported and sponsored by Bristol University, with a skills theme. And yeah, looking to work with members. Thank you, Holly, for coming along tonight. I'm sorry, the person I thought was in Peasdown was actually in a different village, so I'm sorry I haven't come back to you just yet, but I will come back to you, try and connect you up with other people in the area. And Jack, I appreciate we didn't catch up on the walk, but we can catch up soon. So we're all very busy, and that's just my Ben job. And as you all know, I'm also doing the wind turbine project. So enough said about that. So I think that's enough from me. Thanks.
Oh, thank you both. We've got a few minutes if there's anything anyone else kind of wanted to add.
I've got one offer, which is a retrofit coordinator role, training role. I'll put that out in the Ben news, and to see who might be interested in becoming a retrofit coordinator. So I'll post that out. I know Robert's very keen. Yeah, so I have to put the advert out there and see who's interested in undertaking that role.
Awesome. Thank you.
Just one thing, David. So actually, you said that the local plan is up for review again, and
Yes.
I'm very, very happy, very pleased that you are working with the City Council on that. But it could be something that our members would want to be engaged as well.
Absolutely. So it's at the very early stages of draft. The draft's not being completed. The current local plan that we're working that exists at the moment is 2012, I believe. So it's very much out of date. So the buildings being built will have to be retrofitted at the moment because it's so out of date. And that's because the area plan that WECA was bringing forward was refused. So this is coming in now, and so Mark's offered to come to a Ben meeting and actually explain what he's been doing, how he's taking on board our comments, and so that's Mark Letcher from Bristol City Council.
Yeah,
he's also
but,
South Gloss member as well. What was it? Sorry, Karen.
That's very commendable effort, but have our members been able to provide feedback? So before Mark can take it on board, they should be able to give something in.
Yes, so what I was updating Mark with was all of the feedback that we gave on the last draft of the local plan, because the new draft hasn't been written. So I was literally taking all of the information that we've done from the previous engagement of the local plan and bringing him up to date with that, so that he can inform his draft. Then that draft will be published, and then we'll comment again on the draft that he produces. And so yes, it's just basically I was getting in there before they'd even started, sort of thing, if you sort of mean. I was getting in there earlier than the earlier point. before anyone else got in there.
No, that's again well done for that as well. And just an idea, maybe we can ask or issue kind of a call for evidence on what kind of evidence people want to submit and propose changes about their own areas, and then that can go to Mark again to take into account in the first go rather than.
Yeah, so that'll be coming out in May, so we'll be able to do that in May this year.
Okay.
Thank you. Just we'll go around if anyone has anything else to add as part of AOB. Feel free to share now. We do have a few minutes left. If not, we can wrap up as well. I just want to check with Rachel if I've missed anything off. I think that's all.
Okay, I guess just does Jack or Holly want, because they're kind of new to Ben, is there anything they'd like to ask or?
Welcome.
Welcome, yeah, just welcome.
It's just nice to be here, thanks. You're all just really nice, and I just like hanging out, even though I'm not in a position to really contribute more. I'd like to. I've just got to get, I've just got to get the rest of life sorted out first.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Jack, I've not been able to respond. I've just been, but yeah, you're on my list. So
right.
Let you know that.
I know I've been relentless in chasing you.
No, I'm pleased you have, because it has been crazy in the last couple of months, but I am coming back to you and Mike. So, okay.
Well, I'll give a quick introduction.
Yeah, go for it, please.
Yeah, profession. But my name's Jack. I am an engineer by profession, and I've got about 6 years' experience working in the tidal energy industry. I used to work for Marine Current Turbines, who were later bought out by Atlantis. So that's like free stream tidal. So it's like a wind turbine underwater rather than like a barrage. And then since then I moved on. I did a bit of freelance work. And then for the last year, I've been working for DNV, who have got an office in Bristol and have been doing wind turbine simulation software development. Yeah, there's been a bit of an ongoing sort of learning process for me since seeing how the government have reacted to COVID and seeing the kind of the parallel with how they'll treat the climate crisis and realizing that they're going to wait until it's too late before doing anything. So that's started to make me think about moving outside of just engineering and thinking about kind of the systems that need to change. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of reading into community energy in the last few months, and I'm really, really excited in that I've managed to, in the last few weeks, bag a role at Regen. So I'm going to start working with them in the middle of April, which I'm very excited about. And then hoping, I've just been sort of chatting to lots of people in the last few months, making lots of contacts, and I'm looking to do as much as I can, like with you guys, and obviously working for Regen. And then yeah, if at some point I could start some sort of community-based project, that'd be great as well. But I'm really passionate, not just about kind of the need to be increasing, like, the amount of green energy we have in the country, but also like the kind of the social aspects of trying to empower like local communities, and particularly people at disadvantage, to sort of see community energy, particularly if it's funding that's coming from the government, as like one of the greatest wealth transfers we can have in this country, by delivering assets to communities that is kind of delivering really positive social outcomes for them. So yeah, that's my game isn't just the technology, it's like all the social side of it as well. And it feels like it's the only way to sort of have some kind of fight back against like neoliberalism at the moment. So yeah.
Right. Thank you. Well, welcome both. It's great to kind of have you part of the group. I'm excited now for the year ahead. We've got some great work going on within the city, and some really keen people to continue to do some great work. So I'm excited, and I hope everyone else is as well. Thank you all again for joining. I'll just do one final thing. If anyone else has anything else to add, it's the time now. If not, we've got 3 minutes. You can go turn the TV on really early and put your slippers on and get ready for bed. But thank you all so much for joining. Thank you. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for hosting, Aisha.
Just one request as well. We had group discussions, which was great, and I think I looked at 2 groups and neither got to the end of the questions. Would be probably a good idea to post these pages to people and say, there is another week for you to go and add any input into any of these groups, and people might want to do that.
That's a great idea, Rosanna. I'll send an email to everyone who attended and send the links.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks all. Thanks everyone.
Have a great evening.
You guys.
Yay! Thanks, Aisha. That was it felt very calm and collected, and yeah, I'm sorry I forgot to do the timing thing at the beginning. I was distracted with the fact that obviously going through Eventbrite is not working for people. That's annoying.
So does that mean it opens in the browser? Oh, I just realized we're still recording.
Oh yeah. Let's stop that.